There's this myth that individuals with aphantasia lack creativity due to their inability to visualize mental images, but this isn't true. Today's event, which we hope will be the first in a series of many, is a collaboration brought to you by the Aphantasia Network and Aphantasia and me. Hi, I'm Jessica from the Aphantasia Network, and today I'm joined with Nicolette, the lovely persona behind the Aphantasia and me Instagram account. Hi, Nicolette.
Hi, Jessica. I'm very excited to be here today and to introduce you to our very first artist who comes from a small town in the Czech Republic. She works as a freelance photographer and a visual artist, and she's joining us from her studio in Prague. So please welcome Karolina Koblen.
There we are. Hi.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Hi, Karolina. Thanks for being here today. So tell us a little bit about your art, both your drawing, painting, and your photography background.
Yeah. So, well, I think it started with painting many years ago. I think I started like kind of serious painting, like oil on canvas when I was around 11 or something. And then I got to photography because, you know what, I wanted to make selfies, but we didn't have phones back then, so in the early 2000s, so I used camera, and then I realized I can use myself as a sort of model, so I did a lot of self-photography, and that actually got me to my other job that I was doing for maybe 10 years, between my 20s and my 30s. I actually became a freelance model. And now I already finished that career and I'm back to painting and photography. So
back to your roots.
Like a journey like that.
Nice. So I guess at what point did you decide you wanted to become an artist full time?
Yeah, that is a very hard question. I think it was something like I would say only talent, or not only talent. I was quite a good student, but it was that one special thing that I had. I would always paint. I was quite good at it, and I was quite keen. I was always trying to study by myself, you know, to make everything better and better. So it was kind of my only real like passion, you know.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I went to study it in the university as well. So
nice. And would you say that it runs in the family, art?
actually, it does. My mom, she used to paint and take pictures as well, and now she makes her living making pottery, like vases and stuff, lamps, just ceramics pottery.
Lovely.
I hope you can understand me because I know that I have accent and sometimes it sounds.
No, we love your accent.
Okay. If you don't understand me, just tell me.
No worries.
Use other words or something.
Absolutely. So when did you first hear about aphantasia?
That was, I think, 4 years ago or something like that. So quite late in my 20s. Maybe I was 28 or 29. And I kind of always suspected there was something a little bit off about how I function. I never knew what it was like, but it was just like I was thinking, oh, I'm weird. I'm quite bad at this. Like they seem to be able to do something that I maybe can't, but I never researched into it. And then I somehow stumbled upon a video. I think it was some TED talk or something on YouTube. I don't know, and it was about aphantasia, and started making sense. And I started like, maybe I have it, because that sounds really like what I'm experiencing. And then I started reading about it and watching videos, and then I became quite certain. So you both have aphantasia too. So.
We do. Everyone on this call has aphantasia. And it wasn't until 2015 that the actual term was coined. So it makes sense that you didn't discover it until later in life.
Yeah. I think, so it's such a new thing. Yeah. Well, for me, the first thing that I was concerned about was that I'm not able to recognize faces. That's more, it's called prosopagnosia, but it mostly goes, or sometimes it goes hand in hand with aphantasia. And for me, that's definitely connected because I cannot visualize any past memories and things like that. So I cannot even visualize like faces. So that was the first thing that I realized, that there might be something off, because I wouldn't recognize my own mom if she changed her hair or something. So
Do you feel like that's played into your art at all, not being able to recognize faces?
I think lately, yes, but that is deliberate because I am working with these topics. Those are some of my concepts. It's a lot of the work is about myself and my, how to say it, my weirdnesses, like how the brain works, and about remembering, for example, these paintings behind me. Both of them are based on this topic. So I can tell you a little bit more about them if you want.
Please do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, well, this first one, this is a self-portrait. When I was maybe 5 years old, the face is, the reference is from picture I got. But it's me when I was really small, and I went by a house. I went home from some playtime, and I remember I saw, which is really weird, I saw an eye in the wood. Like, there was a wooden shed. It was made from like plank woods, and I saw there was an eye. The thing is, it's my memory. I know that I saw something like that, but I don't understand it at all. Like, was it something, like, could I visualize back then, or did I really see something there, or was it some dream, but I remember it as a reality? Something became really weirdly connected because it became a memory, but I don't think it was real. So for me, this moment was such a weirdly interesting that I painted it, and I painted it from the perspective of the eye that I could see. So the eye sees me in this picture.
So some individuals with aphantasia have had it since birth, but others don't obtain the condition until later in life. So do you think when you were younger, you were able to visualize mentally, and maybe that's where that's from?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know. I really don't know. But maybe in this very young age, maybe yes.
Maybe yeah.
I have these memories that I cannot touch, really.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, but maybe that could be one explanation. Or there was some ghost, or I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually have similar. I can relate to that. I have memories of me visualizing, like Dumbo, the film, me visualizing, the elephants on parade thing with all the elephants going around. I used to close my eyes and imagine that in my head. And I don't know when that switch happens, me not being able to visualize things in my head. So it's an interesting one.
So you are sure you could do it at one point, but then it somehow disappeared.
Unless my overactive imagination was imagining I was imagining it.
Yeah.
But it's something I remember doing, so it's interesting.
That is very. I always recall having like these inner dialogues, like sound. I do it a lot, all the time. I have songs in my head all the time. I think to myself kind of aloud in my head. I can hear it. And I remember that I would do it as a small child. That was always there. But with the visualizing, no idea. and that's why I painted this.
Do you
So-
still have the inner monologue now?
Well, yeah, like now that I'm talking, I'm kind of talking to myself a little bit in advance, so I can check what I'm saying. It's also because of the language barrier a little bit, but so I know that some people with aphantasia don't have the inner dialogue as well, but I do have that. For me, aphantasia is just the visual thing. And I think by high school, I definitely already had it. Like, I'm sure. Like, because I wouldn't understand geometry. I wouldn't understand mathematics. And somebody wanted me to imagine this and that. Like, what? How? So there was...
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
even with drawing, there was some problems with the process, because I think my process is a little bit different in a way. So,
Yeah, definitely. And when you first actually found out you had aphantasia, how did you feel? Like, what were the first feelings that you felt?
actually, it was quite mixed, because one thing is like, oh my god, there's actually something wrong. It has a name, and I probably have it, and that would be so great if I didn't have it. Like I thought I was like missing out on something. That was one thing. But then on the other hand, I was quite happy that I actually knew that it's a thing. Like, there are some people like me, and it's actual phenomenon, and it's not just my something weird, you know. I don't know if I said it understandable. Hopefully.
Yeah, very, very relatable experience. And tell us a little bit more then about your art and the other selfie behind you there.
Yeah, let's do that. So this one is Thought Bubble. That's the name, Thought Bubble, and I think it's quite, how to say it, it's quite literal. I mean, if I say what it is about, I think it's already quite visible. So there's this person, the selfie, and the bubble over his head means his own reality. It means how he or she, or I don't know. I usually paint myself as a kind of boy. I don't know. It's an inner thing. So he sees the world in like completely different way than somebody else. So like all of us have this kind of bubble as like a prism that we see the world through, and the bubbles can be different for everybody else. Somebody has aphantasia, somebody has, I don't know, autism spectrum disorder,
Hyperphantasia too.
everything is there as a kind of aspect, and it changes our perspective on everything. So I painted this bubble, and inside it kind of looks like some kind of galaxy or space or something. When I was painting this, it was mostly about anxiety. So about like having some anxiety attack, and then like bubble of mess and nervosity, you know, in the head. And I think my anxiety also kind of stems from inability to recognize faces, because I've had a lot of bad situations in that. So there's slight social phobia, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. And in regards to your paintings, how do you plan what you're going to paint or draw, seeing as it's quite a visual form? How do you plan that in advance?
Yeah, I can take you through like the process. So it starts usually with a concept. So with a simple idea, like I don't know, I will just figure out something really simple right now as an example. I don't know. I will paint a dog. Let's say I have idea to paint a dog. I never did, but just an example. So then I think like what kind of dog or what kind of background, what will be there, but still on the concept how to say it, in the concept form, like because I cannot visualize it. I never know how my paintings will actually look like in the end. That's always a bit of surprise. But then I go to, it used to be a paper and a pen. Nowadays I have Apple Pencil and I use Procreate app on iPad and I draw everything. I just draw it very rudimentary, like, you know, like a 5-year-old would draw. And that's my basic idea. It's like I put the concept on paper and then I add more and more and more. Look for references if I need to. For example, I don't really know how a dog looks like, so I have to Google him. Study, paint it more, and then I end up with some like a digital sketch. For example, this is a digital printed out sketch, or this one. And I do like a lot of versions. I try duplicating some of the stuff. I just use all the computer magic that I can to find some visually interesting place, or how to say it, space. And when I like it, when I like the composition and everything, I say, okay, this is how I will do it. And I use this, my sort of preparation painting, I use it as a reference.
Yeah.
I paint, I have an easel with the canvas, and I have the iPad with the open tab, and I just kind of transfer. I just paint what I see. But what I started doing lately, and I think it's quite a good thing, I stop at some places in the process when I think I like it already somehow, unfinished, and I take pictures, and then I put the pictures back into Procreate app, and I paint over them digitally to figure out the next steps.
Oh, yes, yes. Because you can't imagine it.
Yeah,
yes.
I can. Because I know that if I would be just improvising, because I used to do that, I usually don't like the result. I mean, it's like a lottery. Sometimes I maybe like it, but sometimes not, and I do, like, I want to be in control, so I do this. Yeah. So I'm quite like, I really mix the digital and actual, like, physical aspects. I'm really happy that this technique exists and I can use it.
Yeah. And what about also for your photography? What are your processes around that? Is it just based on your technical skills, or is there something else that you use to help you with the inability to imagine that concept?
Well, with camera, I think it's easier because when I already have some nice settings, some models, something, and I can see it with the camera, so I don't really need to imagine that much because I already see what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But in my pictures, I also do a lot of post-process. A lot of these pictures are quite painting-y. I don't know, like painting-like. So I play with them a lot in Photoshop. I do some overlays. I do things like that. I've always done that since I started shooting. And when I want to do some like specific shoot, I also do sketch. I'll draw like a simple sketch. I would like maybe a model in this like flower field, and there should be sundown, and I kind of draw it just to see the composition. Really, just basic sketch. Mm. And then I do the rest.
And obviously you use quite a lot of different mediums. How do you feel that each medium utilizes your different strengths and weaknesses with Aphantasia?
Okay.
So
mediums. So the things like, well, I lately just I either paint oil or acrylics, so I already know how these medium kind of work. so I know what to expect from them, and I try to use them in the specific way. In some pictures, I combine them. For example, here it's one medium right here, the orange, that's acrylic. I know it will stay kind of matte, it will be kind of translucent, kind of watery. And then for the heavier layer, I use oils, which are the finishing layers. And I kind of count that through, like because I have a lot of time with this pre-process. So already when I'm sketching, I'm already thinking this medium will be best for this part and this will be best for that part. So I can kind of prepare for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the other mediums could be. So the other medium that I do completely different is the photography, and then maybe some of the graphic programs. But I use them in all I do. I use them in the pre-process, in the sketches, and I also use them in post-process for pictures. So it's just something I don't know. I use them for such a long time. I already feel like it's part of my body. The mouse with the Photoshop. So
So you say your aphantasia doesn't limit you on any medium. You like to actually kind of use them together on a process.
I think not. I think it doesn't, because it's something you can learn by heart. You don't have to imagine, visualize how it will look, but you can learn by heart how this medium works, how this acts. You do it a lot, so you get to know it, and then it's quite instinctive, I think. The choosing of the media.
Have you had a chance to talk with other artists and compare and contrast perhaps how your process is different from theirs? And is there anything you notice?
Yeah, actually, I was talking with one artist, painter also recently, or maybe it was on Facebook, I think. It wasn't person to person, but she was writing that she really has images in her head, and that she has so many, and she has to paint them. I had to you have to see what I'm seeing. She was writing, and I was like, wow, that is very different. Actually, I think I paint because I cannot see it in my head. Maybe if I could see it in my head, why would I paint it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I guess as well that there seems to be quite a theme with your art. There's a lot of kind of darkness, but then contrasted with a lot of neon colors. Would you say that, a reflection of not what you're visualizing, but the inner monologue in your head? Or what would you say are the reasons behind that?
Well, these paintings you described, these dark ones with the neonic contrast, that is one of my late series, recent. And all the series is kind of about transformation, metamorphosis of some inner self, and definitely goes from all my experiences, also having aphantasia, also having some other psychological issues like anxiety and stuff. And sometimes there are sometimes it is quite literal, that you can kind of see what's going on there, that you can see it is some kind of self-portrait or something, but sometimes it goes a little bit more how to say it, more dreamy and less illustrative. For example, it's quite illustrative, but it's still kind of a self-portrait, but there's scars. I don't know. It's complicated to say how I think in the process, but
we have a question from the audience asking
Yes.
if you use other 3D modes, like mediums, like clay, other items like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I did, but I think I never felt it was my medium. I can do quite okay, maybe some little sculpture, but it's probably not for me. I have done some, and on my Instagram you can find some light objects that I did for exhibition that I had about Chernobyl, which is a place I visited, which I really like. It's my favorite topic. So I did those like a light blobs from transparent paper. So, and I tried something on the university. We were doing some clay models, and so, but I never thought it was really calling.
What is it about Chernobyl that interests you so much?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really nerd. You know, I played the Stalker games, and I kind of like things that are dark and quite like exciting in this way, quite spooky. I like this edgy feelings. I mean, experiencing things like that. So I went there, and there I took a lot of pictures, and then I did some exhibitions with like an evening, like an informative evening, or how to say it. I was talking a little bit about the facts about Chernobyl, and I had a presentation, and there was the exhibition as well. So that's, I don't know. I just have a lot of these like a little bit goth or a little bit dark interests.
Yeah. Yeah, which we definitely see through your artwork and your drawings.
Yeah, it's sometimes really hard. I think the last questions I got quite tangled into answering, but
No worries.
yeah, it's also the contrast, the neons and the darkness. Yeah, I like this edge. I've always been, I don't know, I was always like a fan of Rammstein, or you know, these bands that are kind of gothy. So I'm definitely into that vibe. Yeah.
I think it's what makes your art unique. I absolutely love it. I think you can really see you in your art, and you've managed to relay that really well without having an image in your head of what you want to portray, which I think is great.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have any tips for artists that have aphantasia as well that might be helpful?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this question. I think I wouldn't have like special tips for somebody who has aphantasia. I think they should just really follow what every artist has to go through, and that is paint and paint and paint. Like really work. It's just do a lot and figure out what you like the most. Figure out what makes you feel something special, and there you may find your style, and also the process. You have to find one that suits you. So, for example, I would definitely recommend, as I do, doing a lot of preparation, doing a lot of research, but it doesn't have to be for everybody. Maybe somebody with aphantasia could be perfect with like improvising completely abstract pictures. They cannot tell how it will turn out, and it will turn out wonderful. It's possible. So, you know, it's not how I do it, but maybe that could also work. So I think there is no recipe for success, you know. It has to be fun for you. It has to be something you love, and do a lot of it. And learn the basics. I mean, figural drawings, perspective, these things that those really help, because if you know, for example, how body works, muscles, where joints and stuff, then you are able to draw a human form from any angle, from any you know, in any movement, because you know how it is, and you don't have to visualize it. So the more you know, the more you can draw, I think.
Yeah.
If you cannot by, you know, seeing it in your head.
Yeah, and do you ever go, you indicate that you use references from your own past sketches, but I'm wondering, do you ever go to the internet to get a picture to reference and go off of that as well? Yeah.
A lot. I mean, it's not the complete compositions. I never copy, but I do, let's say, mock-ups, or I don't know how to. Yeah. Sometimes I just use, for example, with these cars, I think it's quite legit. I found some like destroyed cars. I just put them in the Procreate, the photos from the internet, and then I take the Apple Pencil, I just trace them, and I have everything traced. Then I like move them about the screen, and then I figure out I like this composition, and I work on it some more. But there is definitely I have Pinterest account full of references about everything.
Yeah. And I really liked your analogy of how you take your work and then you put it into the drawer so that you can copy and make edits on top so that if you don't like it, you can sort of undo it. I'm very much like that.
I love undoing things.
Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes when I'm working and such a big chunk of my work is digital, and I'm used to like using the fingers, like scrolling, like making bigger, zooming in. I actually did like a few times. I would just touch canvas and I tried to do, like zoom in, and oh my god, it doesn't work. I'm not in digital interface anymore. Really, I have to paint with brush. But really, when you combine it so much at like one time, sometimes there is a, how to say it, like a blank space, and I do something funny like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that your technique and your process has changed if you compare before you knew you had aphantasia versus after you knew? Or do you think it's been the same all the way throughout?
Actually, it didn't change. It has been the same, but I don't feel such a imposter about it, Like I used to think I cannot draw things really from my imagination, like some of my schoolmates can, because I studied painting. They can really think about it some more, and I have some issues with it. Like, why do I have to do so much sketching? Why do I have to use so much references? I felt I had this imposter syndrome, this typical like I'm not worth thing. And then now that I know it, that there is something people can do and I cannot, I feel quite legit doing it. I mean, yeah.
Would you
I
say
think
that
there's no shame in using pictures or photos as a reference.
Source of inspiration.
Yeah, I mean it's not copying or something, but using like observing things is definitely, there's absolutely no shame in it. Not everybody has a vivid imagination. I think if we look into art history, maybe we would find some aphantasiacs as well. Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I think we would.
Yeah.
Do you feel that maybe like as an artist who's, you've really kind of committed your whole career to your art, would you say that you'd want to tell people with aphantasia, that it is okay to work in these slightly different ways and maybe change the education of how you must be an artist, kind of away from just having to visualize, and enabling people to use references as well?
Yeah, I think it was never my main objective to, let's say, do some awareness about something, because I started painting before I knew I had this. But I'm definitely like all about, like, let's say, more inclusivity in this field. I mean, people with differently functioning brains from each other will do art differently, and that's great, and they should do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think no matter how your brain works, if you want to do it, do it. It will be perfect in some way. For example,
Your own art.
Yeah, long time ago there was this art brut movement when people realized that they are bored with the academic painting, and they like painting of children, of like unschooled, like complete amateur painters, and it was a huge hit, and everybody loved that. You know, like people like Jean de Buffet was also a collector and later a creator in this style, and that was big. And that was, they were thinking, oh my God, it's something new, because these people, they don't have the academical skills and they just paint and it's so wild. So I think there is so many like very fresh ways how differently thinking people can enrich us or enrich the artwork in a way. Yeah.
And we had a question from the community. Did discovering your aphantasia give you a different perspective on your past work?
I think it did, yeah. Yes, I just recalled some past processes and some maybe hardships I had also during studies and stuff, and I said, yeah, that's it. Here I was not very good, and this was better for me, and definitely. For example, when I started painting, when I was maybe 11, 12, I told you, I already was working with the computer. It's funny, but and I had no idea, but I used to play with some pictures, like photos of maybe my favorite rock stars or whatever, and I would play with them in MS Paint, you know, the painting tool in old
We all
computers.
remember
And I would
that.
just paint it over and do stuff like that, and then I said, oh my God, I like it like this. I will paint it on canvas exactly like this. And I was really transferring the computer kind of crooked lines, and I was loving it, like really transferring it, you know, not making it smooth or anything, just like it was. And this is very similar to my process these days. So I returned to it basically. And back then, I was doing it very instinctively. It was the best process for me.
And you had said, so art runs in your family because your mom does pottery. I'm wondering, does anyone else in your family have aphantasia, or have you met anyone else in your regular everyday life that has it?
Actually, I recently met some people because I was talking about it some more with some, like, maybe during some art events and stuff, and I found people that are not very good at imagining, and it's funny to tell them they
You
have
have
something
aphantasia?
maybe,
Yeah.
and they are very surprised always, but not in my family and not in my like friend bubble. There's actually a lot of these super imaginators and super recognizers. For example, my mom, who is artistic, she said she has like movies there, and I was like where, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
my boyfriend as well, he can we were just talking about it today, and he say, like, if I'm about to imagine maybe I don't know, a cup, some cup in my hand like this, I will just, because I cannot imagine. He will imagine like a concrete, some kind of cup, and it can has like pictures on it, or it can have some letters, and he can read what is written there. And I'm like, but how? But there is no cup. How do you? So he actually sees some. So his brains makes the magic and puts some random cup there.
yes, it's mad.
Yeah.
For someone
So I
with
think that's pretty vivid. Because
Yeah.
for me it's like a concept of a cup. It looks like that. For him it looks like that. And
Yeah.
some people have it, I would say, in between.
Yeah.
At least they told me they have something in between. They kind of see maybe like a very basic white cup or something, and there's nothing special, or it fluctuates, it changes, it never sits still like one cup and kind of changes. I cannot imagine.
Yeah. Well, there would be others that would be on the hyper side of things that would be able to sit there and say, I see the cup, I see steam coming out of it, and I can smell it's hot cocoa.
That's what he said. Like there would be, I don't know, yeah.
It's interesting. So obviously, people say that potentially aphantasia could be like hereditary thing. And I actually have one parent with aphantasia and one parent with hyperphantasia. So one parent will literally reel off movies in their head, and then another parent is exactly the same as me. And the parent, my dad, who has hyperphantasia, he's an artist. And then I am also very into art, but I have aphantasia. And it's really weird how, really, I think if you looked at all of the artists, there's going to be a lot in there with aphantasia, a lot in there with hyperphantasia.
I think so.
In between, right? Yeah.
Must be.
Yeah.
I think,
And I think
I think like recently they figure out that El Greco, the Spanish painter from very long time ago, that he probably had some vision problem, like some kind of astigmatism that made his vision like crooked, and that's why the figures are so long and like lanky and weird. So maybe in the future they will have some hypothesis about aphantasia artists, maybe.
I think we have another question.
The realists.
Hmm?
The classicists. I'm suspecting them. They just paint. That they see nature, so they paint it exactly as it was. Maybe there was somebody who, that's using a life reference.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I don't know.
I think we have another community question. So who is your favorite artist?
That's hard because I have a lot. But I will go with my absolute favorite, okay? I really love Andy Warhol. I just like everything about him. I don't know, it's all the community that was surrounding him. It's just very cool vibes to me. I mean, it was not all that awesome, but I'm really nerdy about that 60s New York scene. And I think I'm quite proud that he is also Czechoslovakian originally, which is wonderful. So I'm quite kind of feel this national pride about him, if I can say it like that, like he's ours,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny. And I think he made it from like absolutely underprivileged poor kid to somebody who changed the art world in a way that it's still impactful. Yeah. I think I think he would love the social media and things like that. It's 15 minutes of fame completely. It's something he predicted, I think.
Amazing.
Well, we're going to open up to any other questions from our community right now. If you'd like to send them in, Karolina would be happy to address them. Give you a minute or two. So how are you relaxing when you're not painting?
Yeah, many ways. I'm sleeping. Maybe. I'm quite like, I don't know, my favorite animal is a sloth. So that's because I'm a bit like a sloth. I really like to do nothing, maybe watch a movie, maybe, just slow things. I like walks in nature. We have a drone with my boyfriend, so sometimes we just go out of town and just let the drone fly and we watch the footage, and that's really nice. What I do, I recently played some games. I played Cyberpunk 2077, so I enjoyed that, but I sometimes get nervous when I play games because when somebody's shooting at me, I get
So you mentioned you like to sleep. So I'm curious, can you visualize in your dreams? Because some people with aphantasia can. So you are able to, yes. Do you have very vivid dreams?
Sorry?
Do you have very vivid dreams?
I think not. I think it's nothing like reality, but there are visuals and sometimes they are quite interesting. That's true.
Do they ever inspire your do they ever inspire your art?
I think maybe in a way, because I never can really recall them in the morning. But I remember it was really cool looking or something. or there's some person that I know, but he looked like somebody completely different. And I think I never see the whole thing in the dream. For example, I would be dreaming about, I don't know, whatever, Andy Warhol, and I like there would be just one visual thing about him I see in the dream, and that, for example, might be that he has, I don't know, blue hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't have blue hair, but I in the dream he would, and I still know it's him. And like the only thing I remember is he had blue hair. So it's not very vivid. It's just yeah.
But you
it's still
can
cool.
visualize.
I think
Yeah.
yes, involuntarily.
If you're ever painting faces, how do you always have to go from a picture of a face? Could you ever make one up in your head, or how do you start if you're painting a face?
Yeah, that's again. Fortunately, I have a lot of stock pictures because I take pictures as a photographer. So I sometimes use faces of my models. For example, I can show the model from my photograph, and I use the face for painting as well. The same process like before: procreate and a mock-up and preparing sketch. Or I paint, let's say, generic faces. I don't know how to say it, but they are quite, I don't know, like this was, for example, really generic, but it's just the digital drawing. I don't know, it's just some random face.
I'm curious on that last one you showed us. He had his eye covered. Is there what's the meaning behind that?
Yeah, it's covered by one of these blobs. There are a lot of these orange shiny blobs. It's made with UV color, so if you put black light, you'll actually see it like shining, which I love about it. And I don't know, there are some weird spacey or astral larvae or pupae or some kind of insect babies or something. I don't know. It's complicated. It's quite psycho. But I use them a lot. They are also on the car paintings, and they represent some metamorphosis or transformation.
Yeah, it makes sense. We've got another question from the audience. Are you working on a new series of paintings which you haven't yet?
First, I say hello, Elena, because I know this girl. Thank you for watching us. Cool. I thought you said you didn't have time, but which you are not posted publicly yet. Yes, I have many in my studio. Most of them are in process and not finished, or they are half finished, or maybe I don't know yet if they are finished. So there's a lot. And today I changed my exhibition in Prague. It's in one, like it's in Czech design passage window. It's like in the shop window because it's coronavirus and
Yeah.
So I changed the exposition there, and I brought there few new paintings that are not yet online. So.
And how long does it take you from start? How long does it take from start to finish for you to create a painting?
Well,
days, weeks, hours?
Days. I'm quite fast. It's true. I usually have one drawing, like a break. I make the basic, then I have to let it dry for some time, figure out the next step. So maybe one day of the basic layer and maybe another day or two of the finishing touches. So I would say about 2 days, like normal, not very big painting.
Yeah, it's pretty quick though.
Some can stretch into months. Sometimes they sit and they are just there, and I don't know what to do with them, and then I have some idea and I finish them. So that also happens.
And if our viewers wanted to follow your work, where can they find that?
So I have the link tree, which is in all my Instagram accounts. I have 3 Instagram accounts, 1 photography, 1 painting, and 1 like personal. That's the oldest one. When I was still a model, I was using that as my platform. So everywhere is a link tree, and there are links to all my internet activities. And I think the Instagram is lately the best because I'm uploading quite regularly there.
Perfect. What's your handle on Instagram for the viewers?
The name or
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I should spell it or something. I should write it. I don't have a. I just have.
We can include it in the comments.
Yeah.
Because I only have brushes here. It's KK Art Stuff all together. So it's like my name, Karolina Koblen. So KK Art Stuff, and just all small letters together, one word. KK Art Stuff.
Perfect.
And that's my painting one. And there you will find the rest. I think it's best like this.
No, that's
You can
great.
put it maybe in some chat or something. I don't want to touch the screen because I can also, like before our stream, I just touched the screen and I was finally, it was out of the chat, so better not.
Thank you for your time. This has been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us and sharing the details.
And thanks for everybody who were watching. Actually, I'm wonderfully surprised that people were watching and giving us questions. That's wonderful. Have a nice day or evening or whatever it is. Here is evening.
Yeah,
So
we appreciate your time today. And for anyone that enjoyed this content, definitely make sure to follow Karolina's accounts as well as give the Aphantasia Network and Aphantasia and me a follow on Instagram and YouTube. And if you or anyone you know is a creative with Aphantasia, please don't hesitate to get in touch because we'd love to hear from you. The Aphantasia Network is on a mission to shape a new global conversation and create a space for you to learn more. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Till next time.
Thanks.
Bye.